What's up, guys? Welcome to our last official video here at the Mathnasium. It's been a real year. What a ride. This is going to be real short and sweet. What we have in front of me here is an electrician's cheat sheet, something they might carry with them if they're trying to do quick calculations. Turns out we learned two equations in this class. We learned the Ohm's law. So this is our wedge for voltage. Voltage equals is this wedge. It's equal to all of these. Power is equal to all of these. Electrical intensity or amperage is equal to all of these in this wedge. And resistance is equal to all of these in this wedge. This is the cheat sheet. We learned two of these. Ohm's law, which is right here. So V equals IR. So the voltage is equal to the resistance in ohms times the current in amps. We also learned this one here, which is power equals, so this is voltage equals resistance times IR, V equals IR, or V equals RI. It doesn't matter the order. And here you have P equals V times I. Power is equal to voltage times the current in amps. So what's your assignment? Your assignment actually is the rest of these equations. All of these equations come from these two equations being rearranged. So you can take these two equations and do some math, and you can get all the rest of these other equations. So what's your assignment? What I want you to do is I want you to say, we'll do, and some of them are going to be very, very easy, but you'd set up every one of them with like V equals IR, right? So here's an example. And then you're going to show the work to get to the next equation. So for example, I can solve for resistance here by dividing both sides by I. So if I do V divided by I and then IR divided by I, the I's cancel, and you end up with R equals V divided by I. Okay, so we'll call this equation 1, we'll call this equation 2. Here's a third equation that we just got. V equals IR turned into R equals V divided by I, and all I had to use was division. So that's this one right here. Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to go find all the rest of these equations. There should be 9 additional for you to find. Here's the math that you are going to need to be able to find those. The first piece of advice, you'll need to just use basic equation solving, division. I think you guys can do that. My second piece of advice is the property of substitution. So if you're using substitution, you might say, let's say you have x equals y times z, and you know that w equals x times y. Okay, if you have this, we can figure out, for example, take x. We know that x is equal to y times z, and we can substitute into this value for x here. So this is the property of substitution. So you will need to do that with these two equations cleverly, okay? You may end up getting some like weird true statements, and if you do, just start over. If you don't end up at one of these equations, start over from the two base equations. So you're going to substitute in y times z for x, and you'll get w is equal to y times z times y. And y times y is y squared, so w is equal to y squared times z. So there's a very basic substitution there that we did. And you're going to do something similar to get another one of these equations. So substitution is a tool you will need. Another one that's important is this one. If I say, for example, y equals 2x, you can solve, when you're solving, you can square root both sides of an equation. I think you guys know that from the Pythagorean theorem. You can also square both sides of an equation. And when you're squaring both sides of an equation, like if we square the left side, you just get y squared. If you square the right side, 2x squared, you get this times itself. So that'll be y squared equals 2x times 2x. And we can rearrange that multiplication into 2 times 2 times x, which is y squared equals 2 squared x squared. So if you're multiplying, if you raise something, a product, to a power, you can raise the 2 to that power and x to that power. Y squared equals 4x squared in this case. So you will need this tool. You will need to take the square root of, you might need to take the square root of both sides of an equation. You will need to do that. You will need to do some substitution, and you'll need to do some basic algebra. I would imagine the basic algebra ones are going to come quick. Start there, and then you can kind of go from there. But every one of your problems should only start, you should only ever start with an equation that you have. So once you've solved for one of the equations, you can then use it to try and solve for one that's missing. But most of the calculations are going to be based off of V equals IR and P equals VI. All right, guys, this is going to be a fun one. When you're done, you'll have a total of 12 equations that relate power, voltage, current, and resistance. And they're already here. I've already given the answers. You just need to get there and show the math to get to that point. To snap a picture of all of your solving that you've done and all the work that you've done. I'd like to see them in nice, neat little boxes so that I can see where you started and where you ended up. That would be fantastic. Okay, so yep, that's the assignment. You solve for each of those. That's it for the week. That's it for the year. You're done. It's summer. And we will see you next year. And if you're graduating, it's been real. I really wish I could see you guys in person. Okay? Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And can't wait till this is all over and we have a nice, healthy society again. All right, this is Mr. Schlegel signing off. It's been real.